Hey, welcome to step 3 of the local storage tutorial. Short recap: in step 1 we created a contacts application with just one page. It looks like this. So there are already two contacts hard-coded in the HTML, and I can add another one, and I can edit the existing ones. But this is only in memory, so when I reload the page it's all gone. And then in step 2 we actually use local storage. So if I add something here, reload the page, then it actually persists. Now in step 3 I want to create a custom API around local storage. So instead of using local storage directly, I want to abstract it away so that eventually we can replace local storage with another store, like for example sending AJAX requests or using IndexedDB. And for that I also want to make the contacts API asynchronous. So instead of just local storage where I can like set and get and directly get a value back, for the contact store I want to use promises, so we will have these two callbacks, then if it succeeds, and catch if it fails. Alright. Definitely look at promises if you haven't yet. It's a little bit complicated, but eventually you will get the hang of it, and I'm happy to help if you have questions. Alright, so let's start with the contact store find all. First I will duplicate my step 2, so this is our starting point. And now we are starting here, and instead of using local storage, I want to use contact store find all, then function contacts. So I will simply put all this code inside here. And obviously when I go to step 3 now, this will fail and it will show me nothing. It will complain that contact store is not defined. So let's create it. I will create a new file, so I will have this logic in a separate file. Contacts store.js. And contact store is an object, and then I will define different methods on it. So I'll start with find all, which is a function, gets no argument, and then it returns contacts. So the cool thing is we can just fake it until we make it. So let's return like name Joe, for example. I think we also have to return an ID. And the other properties I think are contact and node. Okay. Let's reload the page, see what happens. Oh, of course, I have to load contact store. And I load it before app.js so that it is available when I try to call it here in line 3. Oh, 4. Okay, reload the page. Now it complains that find all then is not a function, which makes sense because, as I said, I want to use promises. So I will not directly return this array. Instead I say promise resolve. And now it will kind of return it in a fake asynchronous way. Alright, here is Joe. Now before, I think, well, okay, this is not good. I can actually remove this line now. It would still read it from local storage. So this is now our content that we want to have. So let's make it real. So first we will read out the contacts just as we did before, and then we will return that array, and it should still work just like it did before. So this is now actually contact, and I should be able to continue to add another contact here and reload the page, and it all works because it's still all stored in local storage contacts. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We want to add a new contact. Let's see how the code currently looks like. This is our form. When we submit it, we add the contacts here to this variable, and then we save it. And instead, we want to use contacts store.add, and then add actually just the name, because the ID we can generate inside our API now. Okay, let's see. Contact store add function. This one gets an argument, which I just call contact. It will just have the property name. Then I will generate the ID in here. And now what I will do is I will say I will find all my contacts first. It's a very simplified version, you know. We could make this more sophisticated with caching and whatnot, but one after the other. Okay, so we load all the contacts that we currently have. Then we can run the same code as we did before. Where actually we can set it directly on contact, and then we can push the contact directly, set item, and at the end we want to return our contact. Cool. So now when we add, let's see if this works. Zoe. Oh, reference error ID is not defined. What have I done? Ah, okay. So we need the ID because we want to add it to the table. That's no problem. So what we do here is we start with this in the beginning and then call the then callback. By the way, like I could also add the then just right here. It's just a style that it's just a way that I like to organize my callbacks with these blocks and an empty line in between. Okay, it returns our contact here, and now I can take all this code, put it in here, and say, okay, I have to put this one up here because I need the name. Okay. Now we set the ID, and we can also set this from name. It doesn't really matter, maybe it looks nicer. Okay, let's see if this works now. So, yep, so it's here, reloaded, and she's still there. Awesome. Okay, what's next? We want to, let's do the remove. The remove is simpler. Okay. So, remove function, maybe ID. Let's see how we currently do it. So, when we delete it, we find all contacts. And then we filter out the one that we don't want, and then we save it again. Okay. So instead of this, we want to do the contacts store remove ID. And when that is done, then we want to remove the row. Cool. Okay. So just paste the code in here that we had before. It's similar to what we did before. So first we need to find all contacts, So we run this code in there, and then we filter out the contacts and we stringify and store it, and that should be it. Let's try it out. So now I can delete and reload the page and it's still gone. Great. Okay. Next up is update. So for contact, store update function, and I think we just want to pass in the entire contact including the ID. Let's see how we do it right now. This is the one that we want. Okay, and this is the code that we want to get rid of. And instead of that, we want to do actually, we want to do something like this. So contact store update and first the ID. So it's row data. I think actually we have the ID already set above, right? Yes. So we have the ID already, and then we can use these things directly so that we update we pass it in to update our contact in the store. And when this is done, it will resolve with a contact, which means it calls this callback with the contact we just created, and then we can update the HTML. And instead of calling the properties here directly, I would now say contact. Okay, the row ID remains the same. Cool. Let's paste in the code as we have it. So, okay, I think now we said paste in the ID first. That's all right. Now you know what? No, it should be better like this. So we do ID. Okay, so just pass one argument, which is the entire contact, including the ID. Okay, so now it's again, we find them all, and then when we have them all, if the contact item is the, like, let's remove it, like updated contact, then I want to set the contact item with the new properties, and in the end I want to update it and return the new updated contact. Okay. Alright, let's see if this works. Reference error. Contact star is not defined. I think I forgot. Line 21. Oh, it's here. Yes, okay. So, edit, check, 1, 2, save, looks good, reload the page, and it works. So we now have our API. And the nice thing is I could also go in here and say contact store and call it directly with a new name, like my name, and save it. So it does not get updated here, but if I reload the page, it does. Alright, I think that was quite a lot for one step. I hope you find it useful.